Ekta Singhvi and I welcome you all to my class. We are currently discussing chapter 3 of class 12 biology syllabus, and today we shall conclude this chapter by discussing some of the terminologies and some of the features that is associated with human reproduction. So let's start. The first term that we shall be talking about today is pregnancy. What is pregnancy? The entire span of time from fertilization to parturition. Fertilization, we have seen what it is, the union of male and female pronucleus. When that happens, from that moment pregnancy is said to happen, and it will last for 280 days, roughly for 280 days, that is 9 months and few days, till parturition. Parturition means when the fully grown fetus will be expelled from mother's body, that is parturition, or we in common term we know this as delivery. Okay, so that is what pregnancy is. Then our next term for today is implantation. What is implantation? Let's go back to the initial stage of pregnancy when zygote has been formed and when it is undergoing cleavage division. It is all the time, it is moving in the fallopian tube, doing cleavage division. It will form 8 cells, 16 cells. All the while it will be pushed forward to the uterus, and when it is 6th day, that means 6th day from fertilization, it will come to the uterus. Then it will go to endometrium, either endometrium of fundus or endometrium of the body. Endometrium, as you all know, it is the innermost layer of the uterus. This is known as endometrium, and by this time endometrium has become fully formed. It is roughly around 6 millimeter in depth, in its breadth. It is fully developed with all the blood vessels, spiral blood vessels. Remember, spiral blood vessels. So it is fully formed endometrium, and now on the 6th day, it will be known as blastocyst. It will come on the uterus and it will attach to endometrium. This structure, this is the blastocyst. Here it has outermost layer is blastoderm. Then the cavity is known as blastocele, and this is inner cell mass which will form the embryo. Blastoderm will become trophoblast, and that will make the connection with the endometrium, and inner cell mass will form the embryo. So this will continue to happen. Now on the 6th day, when this has come and attached to some gaps in the endometrium, remember by this time endometrium also becomes little rough, okay, because the glands are developing and they protrude, and that will help the blastocyst to get a grip of the endometrium tissue, and a connection will be made here. This connection will continue to develop for 3 days, when the endometrium tissue will totally engulf the blastocyst, and this in the meantime is continuing its division. So now this is embryo, so it will totally engulf the embryo, and the connection will also become stronger and stronger. The blastoderm, which is now known as trophoblast, will divide into 2 parts. Trophoblast, it is also dividing, the cells are continuously dividing, and it will form 2 layers. Here it will form 2 layers. The layer which is in contact with the endometrium, that will be known as syncytiotrophoblasts, which is in connection with the endometrium, and the inner layer which is towards the embryo, that will be known as cytotrophoblast. So trophoblast divides into 2 layers: syncytiotrophoblasts, which is in connection with endometrium, and cytotrophoblast, which is towards the embryo. So this is trophoblast, which is the outermost layer. Now embryo will continue dividing. We don't need to know all that, but we need to know what is implantation. So implantation is the union of blastocyst with the endometrium. endometrium of either fundus or body, not the cervix region. This connection is known as implantation. It takes place from 6th to 9th day. On the 9th day, the growing baby is totally engulfed inside the endometrium. So all the further development will take place inside the endometrial cavity, and this will keep on growing. Ultimately, it will take up the entire region of uterus and even more. It is, remember, uterus muscle myometrium, it is highly expandable. It will expand and give full space to the growing fetus. So this is implantation. It takes place from 6th to 9th day after the fertilization has happened. Now, let us talk about a very important structure, and that is known as placenta. Placenta, it is the connection between the growing fetus and the maternal tissue. It is the structure through which life is supported in the growing tissue. It can grow and it can develop because of the help of placenta. So let us try to understand how placenta develops and what are the function it is performing. So here, as you can see, this is the growing baby and a connection has been made. This is known as umbilical cord. We shall talk about that. And this structure is known as placenta. From here to here, the connection between the trophoblast and the endometrium. A localized connection, not on the entire it does not circle the entire fetus, but just a localized structure. It will become, as it grows, it will become a small disc-like structure. And from here, the fetus will be connected and it will get support to develop. So, placenta, it has got two parts, obviously. One will be the maternal part, the endometrium wall where the fetus is connected, and the other will be the wall of the trophoblast, the syncytiotrophoblast. So, endometrium and syncytiotrophoblast, these two structures unite to form placenta. So, the maternal part of placenta is known as decidua. Decidua. Many a times it is asked for 1 mark or for multiple choice. What is decidua? So, it is the maternal part of the placenta. Placenta is the connection between uterus and the growing fetus. Physiological and mechanical connection between endometrium and the trophoblast. Physiological because all the metabolic activity will happen through trophoblast, and mechanical because it is a physical connection. That is why it is mechanical connection. So, the function of trophoblast, as we can understand, is to support the growth of the fetus. Growth of the fetus. In which way? The fetus, please keep in mind, it is not able to eat, to breathe and to excrete by itself. All these things are now at this point of time carried on by placenta. So placenta is also functions as kidney of the fetus, lungs of the fetus and digestive system of the fetus. That is what the function of placenta is. And another important function is secretion of hormones. Placenta secretes a number of hormones which supports the growth of the fetus. So let us see that what they are. First is human chorionic gonadotropin. It has got a very important function in to support the development, the growth of the fetus. And also it does one more function, that is to signal the corpus luteum. Remember corpus luteum in the ovary. It is secreting progesterone. Now, for a continuous secretion of progesterone for all the 9 months of pregnancy, HCG is needed, because when HCG is there in blood, only then progesterone will be secreted from corpus luteum. Progesterone is also secreted from the placenta also, because just from corpus luteum is not sufficient. Lot of progesterone is needed for during pregnancy, and placenta also secretes some amount of progesterone. Now the function of progesterone is to keep the myometrium, the muscle of the uterine wall, relaxed. Muscle, as we all know, the function of muscle is to contract, isn't it? But if there is contraction in this muscle at this time when the fetus is developing, then there are chances that the fetus will drop off. as we hear sometimes in case of pregnant women. So that is the trouble. They don't have enough of progesterone, and so the myometrium is contracting normally. But progesterone inhibits this contraction so that developing fetus does not get disturbed. So that is the function of progesterone. Then another hormone that placenta secrete are HCS, which helps in milk ejection. Then we have estrogen. Estrogen also comes into play during the later part of pregnancy when the fetus has developed. It aids in the contraction of myometrium. That means it is working against the progesterone. Relaxin. Relaxin is a very important hormone released by placenta. The function of relaxin is to relax the pubic symphysis. Now this is a bone, okay, bone of the pubic region, of the cervix region. This bone needs to give a little space so that the fully grown fetus comes out, fully grown baby comes out. This work is done by relaxin. Relaxin relaxes pubic symphysis and it becomes a little easier to part them so that space is created for the fully developed fetus to come out. So that is the function of relaxing, and that is what placenta is. Next, parturition or delivery. This is the expulsion of mature fetus, fully formed fetus after the end of 280 days. That is the stipulated time for the growth of fetus. When it is fully formed, then it has to come out of mother's body. That process of coming out of the baby is known as parturition. Now, the steps in parturition are mature fetus. This fetus will be totally fully grown. It will occupy all the space of uterus and even more. That is a fully formed fetus, mature fetus. Then cervix dilates. This part is known as cervix. This part is known as cervix, and it will dilate. It will dilate by the help of what? Relaxin hormone. It dilates the pubic symphysis, so that will give a wave. Baby emerges, and there is a last step also after the emergence of baby, and that is expelling afterbirth. That is known as afterbirth. So this structure is placenta and the membranes. The developing fetus had membranes around it to support its life function. Those membranes need to come out as well, and the placenta part, which is in contact with the uterine wall. All these things needs to come out. So that is known as afterbirth, the placenta and membrane of the growing fetus. So that also needs to come out. So these four processes makes a parturition process. Okay. Mature fetus, cervix dilates, baby emerges, expelling of afterbirth. Now here we have to understand the role of the hormones. There are few hormones which are developing the fetus. These hormones are relaxin, estrogen, progesterone, all this. So relaxin, estrogen, these two hormones are released during the later part of the pregnancy when parturition is about to happen. Relaxin, you know the function. Estrogen contracts the uterine muscle, because once the development is complete, then the myometrium needs to contract vigorously so that it can expel the baby. And in this process, estrogen helps. And also one very important hormone which helps in the contraction, a very sudden contraction of uterine muscle, that is the labor pain. That happens because of oxytocin, which is released by the pituitary gland. It is released during this time, and it helps in the forceful contraction of myometrium, which helps to push the fetus out of the body. So oxytocin, very important hormone. And progesterone level at this time drops, because progesterone was keeping this muscle relaxed. Now we don't need that. So progesterone is diminished at this time, and estrogen, relaxin and oxytocin hormones are raised up so that delivery can happen, parturition can happen. Now comes the last part of today's class, and that is lactation. The process of synthesis, secretion and expulsion of milk by the mammary glands of female is known as lactation. It happens after parturition has taken place. After parturition, pituitary gland releases a hormone known as prolactin, and under the effect of prolactin, milk ejaculation takes place. So this is the structure of breast, female breast. So as you can see, it has got muscle, ribs, then it has got a lot of fat droplets, and then there are mammary glands. Mammary glands open to the outside through nipple, and that duct is known as lactiferous ducts. Now here we have to know the function of hormones which are assisting in the development of these glands. So prolactin, as I told you, it helps in the development of mammary gland. Mammary gland, as we all know, it is the modified sebaceous gland of the female breast. So mammary gland, it is developed by the help of prolactin, and it happens when? After childbirth. And lactiferous duct, it is developed by placental estrogen. Remember, estrogen is also secreted by placenta, and it helps in contraction of uterine muscle. It also helps in the development of lactiferous ducts. Lactiferous ducts through which milk will be ejected. So that's what the function is. Prolactin secreted after by anterior pituitary after parturition, and it helps in the milk secretion. Milk secretion, the starting process, is also helped by oxytocin. As we had seen, oxytocin is released by anterior pituitary at the later part of pregnancy, and it helps in the contraction of uterine muscle. It also helps in the contraction of breast muscle. During the early stage of milk ejaculation, when the baby has just been born and milk ejaculation has not started, at that time when baby suckles the nipple, then stimulus is provided to mammary gland and lactiferous ducts to secrete milk, and also oxytocin at that time, it contracts the muscle forcefully, and thus milk is secreted. So oxytocin also plays an important role in lactation. Earlier part of lactation, just to begin the milk secretion. Once it has secreted, started secreting, then it will go on. But the initial process is helped by oxytocin hormone. One interesting fact here is colostrum. Colostrum is pre-milk, before actual milk is being released. At that time, for first few hours only after childbirth, colostrum is released from the breast, from mother's breast, and that is under the effect of HCS, human chorionic somatomammotropic. Colostrum is rich in antibodies and good proteins, and it is very good for the baby. It is slightly yellowish in color because it contains fat molecules. So that's for lactation, and with this we come to an end of this video, this session. Our this chapter of human reproduction finishes with this lecture. I hope you have understood. I hope the video that I make helps you in learning your lesson. In that case, please subscribe to my channel, like and share it. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.